Why do you think when it comes to Black women who are highly educated, high income earners, that oftentimes they do seem to marry the guy that isn't as financially on the same level as them, and it seems to impact the relationship?
Back in the day, there were women who could, well, as a matter of law, women couldn't have their own bank accounts. And so our grandmas were staying with grandpappy, not because they loved him, but because he's the only one who could get a house loan, right? So for years, there was this feeling of women had to figure out how to make it work with men because financially they had no choice and it was just for survival. Because of that, a lot of men were socialized to think that their entire value was in providing. Forget feelings, forget talking about a bad day, forget crying when my cousin dies, forget telling you I'm depressed. As long as I can provide, I'm a man, and everything else that's feeling related is for women. Now, here's the gag: misogyny doesn't just hurt women, it hurts men. Because then we have a group of men who are now raising little boys who are told your money is your only value. And by the way, feelings don't matter. And women are being told if he cries, he's a bitch, right? As long as he can pay his bills, if he cries, he's a bitch, right? So what ends up happening is in the 90s and early 2000s, the Waiting to Excel era, there was this time of us realizing, okay, well, now that we're making the money, you can actually throw that in my face. And women became a little embittered because whenever you lose your voice, the first time you talk with laryngitis, you scream until you recognize what your regular sound pattern is, right? So our aunties, women before me, were a little bit bitter where they were wearing shoulder pads and being ball busters because they thought that was equality. Until they realized men don't like that because they're still people. You know what I mean? Like he's crying in the shower for a reason. Maybe be nice to him. And then we went to the other extreme of coddling now. Well, I don't want to break a man's spirit. So I'm not going to make him feel bad that he's making less than me. I'm going to coddle him. And what ended up happening is by the time women my age started dating, I was like, okay, well, I'm making a lot of money. And I recognize that I don't want to be a bitter woman who's going to be a ball buster to a man. So I want to be soft for him. I want to be supple for him, right? And even though he might be insecure about the fact that I make more money than him, don't worry. I'll be there for you, baby. Then pick me started becoming a thing. So we ended up being in the space of men who are newly figuring out how to deal with their feelings, but haven't learned emotional regulation because their fathers couldn't teach them. And women who want to be loved on without provision being a necessity, who are hoping not to be ball busters. Everybody's people pleasing, nobody's telling the truth. Until resentment comes up. My issue isn't men who are broke, it's men who feel broke.
Head over to my Patreon account. That's patreon.com/. The Carlos King. Again, patreon.com/The Carlos King to watch this full episode.